Are your photographs not sharp? Do you miss focus? Do you have motion blur? Things like that? Does it really piss you off? That's what this video is about this week. I'm Robert Maxfield. I'm a concert and music photographer in Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas, and welcome to Max Concert Photography, where we talk everything concert photography related and sometimes a little photography too. So anyway, here it comes. So I asked on our community tab for our channel what really pisses people off and how come they miss certain shots. The big answer to that is they said, I missed focus or I got motion blur. Okay. On another one I asked, I said, what's more important to you? ISO, aperture, shutter speeds? And it was split kind of between shutter speed and aperture. Do you worry about the lighting? Do you isolate your subject? Or are you worried about what's going on in the background? If you wonder why things are a little different this week, it's because we're not in the studio. The studio is really cold today. And yeah, I know, I'm in Texas, and Texas doesn't get cold. Yeah, it does. So anyway, we're sitting in the breakfast nook at the house, and we're going to cover motion blur first off. There are two major types of motion blur. The first one is your subject is moving faster or very fast, and you don't have enough shutter speed in order to stop the motion. And the second one is you. It's all on you, because what happens is your shutter speed's low and your breathing or your movement or not holding the camera properly is a problem. So the first thing you do is you take your hand and put it underneath the camera lens, look to the viewfinder, take a deep breath, exhale, and when you get all the way to the bottom of the exhale, fire the camera. And that should stop motion blur, but you got to still make sure your shutter speed is high enough to stop it, but that will stop most of your motion blur, that part of the motion blur. You want to make sure when you do it that you have your elbows tucked into your chest and you're looking through it. None of this keeping your arm like this or anything like that. Keep your elbows tucked in to your chest. Sometimes your autofocus is hunting. Also, it depends on the type of lens that you're using. A lot of people use wide-angle lenses simply because the depth of field range for focusing is a lot larger than it is for telephotos or zooms, medium zooms. Some lenses had a depth of field scale right on the top of the lens. You could literally take and set your focus without even looking through the viewfinder with these things. On the bottom it gives you your f-stop number, and then on top it gives you the distance in feet. So if you're at f22, you're about 13 feet to infinity. If you're at f8, you're 20 feet to about 45 feet. And if you're at f4, you're at about 25 feet to 32 feet. And you can see the difference. The wider the f-stop, the less is in focus, front and back. Now this varies depending on the lens that you're using. Not all lens distances, focal distances or focus distances are the same. So they'll vary depending on the lens. The wider the lens itself is, the more you'll have in focus front and back. The longer the lens is, the less you'll have in front and back depending on the f-stop. So if you're shooting 2.8 or faster than that, you may have issues, one eye being focused and one eye not. So you see a lot of guys on Facebook, wherever you go to forums, that say, man, you got to have that fast lens, you got to have it wide open at f1.8. When you do, the longer the lens, the less front and back your focus is. And I'm going to show you an example where this can be a problem right now. This photograph of Stoney LaRue shot at the Louisville, Texas Western Days looks pretty good, but you can see that the guitar head is out of focus. But I'm going to bring out some other things that'll make you go, Is the photograph sharp? Does it have motion blur? So what's the problem with it? Well, let's look at the photograph zoomed in, and if you look at the microphone, you can see that it is obviously not in focus, but it is only 2 to 3 inches away from his nose and his mouth. But if you look at the hairs on his mustache, you can tell that is in focus. The shot was made with a Nikon D800 and an 80 to 200 millimeter f2.8 zoom. The settings were ISO 1600, f2.8, 1/80th of a second. Focal length was 170 millimeters. So actually I should have shot this closer to 200th of a second, and I probably could have got it up a little bit around f4 and got more of everything in focus. The shutter speed was not really important because I had good technique and I shot it with holding my breath, but the f-stop would make a big difference from 4 if I went from 2.8 to 4, maybe 5.6. I could have boosted my ISO, or I could have shot it with a higher shutter speed and brought it back in post in camera raw. Either way I could have done it, but if you look at the photo works out just fine. The shot was made with 9-point focusing on the Nikon. I also could have shot it at f1.8 if I had an 85 to f1.8. I could have done that, but then I'd have to do some cropping and some more playing with it, and still don't know how that would turn out. Either way, a matter of 2 to 3 inches is very, very, very shallow for a focus plane. It's real touchy when you have that little bitty amount of focus area. So I looked at my questions and I said, you're shooting a concert, which setting matters most? Aperture wide open. Not always do you want to shoot with your aperture wide open, because if you do, you've got to be very careful that you're not dealing with this real shallow depth of field. That is, unless you're shooting with a 20 or 24 millimeter and you're shooting everything in the world wide angle. But if you're shooting not wide angle and you're using the telephoto, it can be a problem. Here's another low light example. This is Benoit's King, and you can see on his guitar strap it says Benoit's. You can also look at the shape of his glasses and see that his glasses are tack sharp also. But the headstock of his guitar is definitely out of focus. But the main problem is I would have to lower my shutter speed quite a bit. So if I went 2 stops down from 80, I'd be under 40, and that would not be really hand-holdable. But on this shot of Shelby Stone at the Levitt Pavilion in Arlington, you can see the difference. You can see that her tattoo on her hand is sharp, and that her glasses are sharp, and her hat is sharp. This is what the difference daylight, a lot of it makes a big difference when shooting. You can see on the headstock where it says Gibson, you can look at her earrings and the detail in her hat, and you can see that a difference that having enough light makes. So in lower light situations, what I normally do is I take and set everything as if I was having daylight. I would set it at like 200th of a second or 250. I'd set it at f4, f5, 6 if I could, and then shoot there, and then take and increase the exposure in camera raw. I know a lot of people say, well, I just boost my ISO and then I'll get the settings that I want and I'll be able to do it. You can do that. You can clean it up in denoising software. I don't do that, but you can, and it just depends on the way you want to shoot. Another thing is lenses do not have the same sharpness at all f-stops. Usually there's a sweet spot on that lens somewhere, and typically most of the time it's around between f4 and f8, 5, 6, somewhere in there. And the easiest way to test that is to put your camera on a tripod, find something with pretty good detail, I'd say 10, 15 feet away, set it up in constant daylight and shoot it, and then compare what each photograph looks like. Shoot one at 2.8, shoot one at f4, shoot one at 5.6, one at f8, one at f11, one at 22, 32, and so forth, and see which one is the sharpest and looks the best to you. That would give you an idea on which f-stop to use for most of your photographs. So if you're shooting in low light and say you're at f5.6, you could set your f-stop at 5.6, but you'd have the corresponding shutter speed to go with it. So that might be a little too low, but then again, you can take and increase your ISO, or you can underexpose it and bring it back in post using Camera Raw, something like that, Lightroom. That will do the trick. Another question from 2 weeks ago was, when you compose a shot, what's your priority? Subject isolation, background area, I have no idea what the hell you're talking about, or lighting. In my case, I prefer subject isolation, where I can take, and if I can get the subject away from the microphone and not have the microphone and the subject all in one area, it makes a big difference, because I don't have to focus, it won't focus on that microphone. That makes a big deal. Here's an example of moving the subject away from the microphone, and you can see the microphone's not in focus, and Bobby Sparks is pretty well in focus. It's a very dark venue, so this gives a little bit of isolation. A higher shutter speed, a smaller aperture, and some good daylight really help a lot. Here's another one that's in daylight, and this is of Caitlin Butts at the Plano, Texas, Forever Texas Festival. And you can see, I'm going to show you now, that the microphone, her eyelashes, and her hair are all in focus.